Next, I would like to invite up Mr. Bob Philp. Bob Philp served as the chief of the Alberta Human Rights Commission, a provincial court judge, and a respected lawyer, and an adjunct professor at the University of Alberta Faculty of Business. Mr. Philp's here today to share a message of human rights and diversity for our community.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Shut it up.
Did we lose our mic?
Yeah, I can show really loud. You got it.
Trying to get this fixed, but go ahead and...
Okay, well, thank you all for coming, and I just came from the National Indigenous Cultural Expo at Northlands, and it was a magnificent event. It's going on for the rest of the day, and the dancing is amazing. So if you've got a few hours this afternoon, get over there. I recommend it. My Indigenous friends tell me that sometimes the best way to get a message out is to tell a story. And I'm going to tell a story about this very neighborhood because I grew up in Boyle Street and Macaulay, and I saw things there when I was a kid that never registered with me until I became an adult. But I think you're all familiar with the Edmonton Women's Emergency Shelter in the old Flatiron building on 96th Street. Well, on the back of that building, on the west side of that building, on the upper left, there's a sign that has been painted over. But before the shelter moved in there, the sign was visible. And the sign said, Gibson Cafe, good food, reasonable prices, open all night, so-and-so proprietor, I can't remember the name. And the last, thank you, and the last line said, white help only. I have a picture of that sign in my office because when I saw it, I said, it doesn't say what it says. And I stepped back and I read it about 3 times, and that's what it said, white help only. And that sign was visible when I was a kid delivering newspapers in the Gibson block. And that's not that long ago. That's not that long ago. And we can't forget those kinds of things. But you know, we're fortunate in Edmonton because we have strong human rights roots in this community. John Humphrey was a lawyer in Edmonton, is the namesake of the John Humphrey Center, had a hand in writing the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we should not forget that. We should not forget that. Our human rights legislation in Alberta is modeled on the UN Declaration of Human Rights. And that's important legislation. And we have to remember that we come from diverse backgrounds. We come from different parts of the world. But when we get here, we are all absolutely the same, regardless of the roots of origin, regardless of where we come from. We are all Edmontonians, we're all Albertans, we're all Canadians. And you know, this kind of event and this kind of organization is critical because it's about what message we carry to our neighbors, to our friends, and most importantly, to our children. And so I'm delighted to be here with David and with Scott and speak out against hatred because it is not far away sometimes. And so we need to do all we can to oppose hatred. We need to keep speaking out because this kind of day should be every day in Edmonton. Thank you.